So you're going to be here Saturday night at the Ultimate Doo-Wop show at the Civic Theater. People are just, they're climbing up the walls waiting for the show, you know.
Well, we have such a great time, doing these shows because it's sort of like, to me, it's like a high school reunion. We work and we get together with these artists that we haven't seen sometimes for many, many years. And it's just like, going to an old high school reunion and thinking about the great times that we had, starting in the business together. And, the artists on this show are all the original people. So the people are going to get, they're going to get the real thing.
Now, how many songs do you get to sing?
Well, I think it's a pretty big show. So I think Canterbury Productions, I think there's about maybe 8 or 9 artists. So I guess we each get to do about maybe 20 minutes or so. So it'll end up being about a 2.5 hour show. So we'll see how many songs we could fit in 20 minutes. When we made records in the 60s, in the early 60s or late 50s, the records were probably about 2.5 minutes long anyway. So
right.
You could fit in quite a bit in that time.
Right. The Sound of the Tokens. Who was responsible for that? Because back then you had a lot of groups and a lot of them, basically they sounded the same, but yet, your sound was really unique, and I think that's what helped you stand out.
Well, I guess I would be the one. I don't speak in falsetto, but that's me doing all the falsetto leads and all the in all our records, and I guess it was a unique sound back then, using a falsetto sound as a lead vocal, and I think we were probably even before the Four Seasons.
Yep.
So that's what made the Tokens have such a unique sound. I guess I'm responsible for that.
You inspired a lot of other people too, and I think Lou Christie was one of them who was inspired by you. And
absolutely, Lou. We worked with Lou all the time, and he still sounds as good today as he did back when he made the record.
I know. We've seen him here in San Diego too. That's a nice thing about being here, is because most of the groups come through here at some point. Which is
well, we're really looking forward to this show because we don't get out to the West Coast that often, but when we do, we just have a great reception, and the people they're just wonderful. The audiences are just so terrific.
Now, what were the producers you worked with? Did you work with Ellie Greenwich?
Well, sure. Well, Ellie, Ellie, we were very, very good friends. We worked with Ellie Greenwich in the studio. She wrote a lot of our songs. We did a lot of jingles, actually, with Ellie Greenwich. And when we worked with her, we've also worked with Phil Spector back in the 60s in the studio.
How was that?
But our big, very strange. He was a tremendously talented, producer, and he was very innovative in the studio, but he was a very strange person. Ellie Greenwich was one of the greatest people that I've ever met, the most talented songwriter. Like, we always kid around. Ellie wrote every song in the 60s,
Yeah, she did.
She did, yeah. She was a great friend of ours, and the big producers that we worked at RCA, the ones that produced the Lion Sleeps Tonight, were these two famous producers called Hugo and Luigi,
Sure.
and they produced records by Sam Cooke and all the big RCA Victor artists in the late 50s and early 60s. So we worked with a lot of people, but most of the records that we made and we made for other people, we produced ourselves.
And you produced the Chiffons and He's So Fine, My Sweet
records,
Lord.
He's So Fine, One Fine Day. We produced Tony Orlando and Dawn, Knocked Three Times, and Candida, Tie Yellow Ribbon. We produced Randy and the Rainbow's big hit record of Oh Denise. Happenings, I Got Rhythm, See You in September. Yeah, we were in the studio, I guess, almost 24/7.
So, and a lot of this was based on just the New York doo-wop sound when you guys hung out in the street corners, or I think, as you mentioned on your website, in the bathrooms, because that sounded cool.
That's true. We used to say, in the high school bathrooms was all tile floors and tile walls,
yeah.
So it had this fantastic echo sound. So, with 4 of us used to sing a cappella in the hallways or in the subways or in the high school bathroom, it almost sounded like, 8 voices instead of 4 because of that great echo sound. And then that's how we all started, just singing on the street corners, and especially in Brooklyn, New York, where I grew up, every street corner had another singing group on it,
Did you
and we had a good time growing up in the 50s. It was a good time of our life.
Oh, I'm sure it was. What inspired you to get into singing, though?
Well, I don't know. What inspired me? When I was a kid in high school, or early, or when I was really when I first started high school, I became part of the chorus, and my voice was so high then I used to I sat in the girls section, and I used to just love the harmony and love the sound of the harmony, for the chorus. And then there was this. I tell the story on stage. There was this kid sitting next to me in the chorus who was a year older than I, and he asked me if I wanted to come over to his house after school and start a rock and roll group. And I did that. We started a group in high school, and like I say, that kid's name was Neil Sedaka.
Jeez.
He did okay for himself as
yeah,
well.
I think he did.
Very well.
That's
yeah,
great.
He did.
And your association with RCA, was that something Neil did, or is that something you did?
Oh, no. But we were on the Neil Sedaka and the Tokens were both on RCA Victor Records, but it really had nothing to do with Sedaka getting us on the label. We had a big hit record, a national hit record, before we came to RCA, and it was called Tonight I Fell in Love. And it was a very small company, and there were very funny things going on with accounting. Huh. So we left that label, and we were offered a contract with RCA Victor because we had already had a track record of having national hits.
Sure. Jeez, I'm thinking, I didn't know this, that it was, Tonight I Fell in Love was not on RCA.
No, it was on Warwick Records.
The technology back then was so bad, and yet you guys had a way just to making these things sound so good.
Well, yeah, I don't know. We used to record monoraily. Now they have like 48 tracks. Yeah. Everything is on a separate track. We would just sing with the band. All four of us would get around one microphone, and the band would be on another track, and that's how we made the records.
All right.
Pretty simple, but I guess the producers, they knew what they were doing, sitting at the console.
Now the stuff sounds as good today. That's one of the things that we listen for is how does it sound technologically, and your music sounds as good today as it did back then.
Well, I thank you very much. I still think vinyl sounds better than all the CDs and the MP3s and everything. There's a warm, real, a genuine sound with vinyl records.
All you have to do is look at the sampling rate. Anytime you get a sample, it's not going to be a total accurate representation, and that's
absolutely. I agree with you.
What digital is all about. I got two more questions for you. First,
okay, ask me the second one first.
How did you feel about the World Series?
Well, that's funny because you would assume I'm a Yankee fan. But actually, I'm a Mets fan. So I wasn't too happy about the outcome either way,
Yeah.
But, if somebody had to win, I'm glad it was the Yankees. At least it was a New York team, and maybe next year the Mets will get into it. I'm one of the minorities, I guess, but I was a Mets fan. But
yeah, okay.
It was a very, very exciting series.
Yeah, it was. And the first question, if you had to do it all over again, what one thing would you do differently?
I would pay more attention to the business of the music business. Like, when we were kids making these records, all we thought we cared about was, making music and hearing ourselves on the radio, and not really realizing that actually, you can make a living doing that, and there are people out there that are making a lot of money from what you create. And when we were kids, we never realized that, and most of us never really got any of that money. So I would be much more educated about the business of the music business. That's the only thing I would change. Everything else I would probably do the same.
We have a lot of musicians. I run into a lot of people that want to get into the business, and just those few words from you, I'm sure will inspire them to kind of branch out a little bit. The performance.
Well, I think they're much smarter than we were. They're much more educated. These people that come in to sign record deals today, these kids, they already have accountants and lawyers and this and that. We just were four kids coming off the street. Yeah, we'll sign anything. Just, let us make a record. That's what we cared about.
We're glad you did.
Well, I thank you for that. That's really nice of you to say that.
And, Jay, I appreciate your time. Looking forward to seeing you on Saturday at the Civic Theater and the Ultimate Doo-Wop Show. Jay Siegel and the Tokens. And the Lion will not sleep on Saturday night.
It won't sleep. I'm going to wake him up.
Good deal.
All right. Well, it's great talking to you, and I'm looking forward to being out there. We're going to have a great time.
Likewise, Jay. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.